What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Wormy, and when it comes to Assassin's Creed Shadows, we've been seeing some interesting spins and cope going on right now, mainly because of the disastrous launch that was this past weekend. And we can actually come over here to the current SteamDB charts, and we can see that it only ever peaked at an all-time high of 64,000 concurrent players. Now, I know people are going around saying, well, this game's also out on Xbox and PS5 and all over the place. It's also on Ubisoft Plus, which we'll go into a little point that I'm about to bring up here in a bit. But yes, it's also on Ubisoft Plus if you have a Ubisoft Plus account for $15 a month. So yeah, people are playing it all over the place. The main reason we bring up SteamDB is because this is the only platform that actually concurrently shows you how many people are playing at any given time and actually gives you data, and also allows you to compare games to other games, such as comparing Assassin's Creed Shadows here to, well, Dragon Age the Veilguard, which, remind you, Dragon Age the Veilguard was a monumental flop for BioWare, ultimately ended up actually gutting the company, leaving them with about 100 employees all to work on the latest Mass Effect game, and the director even ended up leaving altogether, but hey, don't look at that. But yeah, BioWare's Dragon Age the Veilguard has actually ended up doing a whole lot better its first weekend than Assassin's Creed Shadows over on SteamDB, and we can even compare this to another game that just came out last month, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Both this and Dragon Age are both games that were out on Xbox One and also out on PS5 along with Steam day one. And we can even see over here at Kingdom Come Deliverance 2's opening weekend, it's on an all-time peak of 256,000 concurrent players. So this whole argument right now that is going on that Steam data and Steam numbers don't equate to anything and people play games on all sorts of platforms, so one platform's numbers don't really matter. Yeah, it really doesn't matter that much. But hey, unlike these past two games, we end up having Ubisoft Plus to also contend with this particular game, which is, again, one of the worst business models any company can actually go about doing, but that's neither here nor there for this particular argument. But the most interesting thing about this is, even though this was a disastrous weekend right now, oddly enough, the stock went up today. Yeah, it went up from starting at around $2.73 all the way up to $2.81 at the end of the day. Now, a lot of people were wondering, why is this happening? Why is this going on? Because if we take a 5-day look at all this, yes, it's down altogether, but around the time the actual game launched, you saw Ubisoft stock take a massive dump, and it was down almost the entire weekend until today, oddly enough. And, you know, people were wondering, what's happening? What's going on? Where is all this going? Well, that's because Forbes decided to come out here to write a puff piece about Assassin's Creed Shadows and wondering whether it's a hit or not. And they decide to cite the usual suspects. Well, Ubisoft themselves. That's right, because Ubisoft decided to come out here and tweet out this beauty just the other day. 2 million players! We're thrilled to celebrate this incredible milestone. Assassin's Creed Shadows has now surpassed the launch of Assassin's Creed Origins and Odyssey. Thank you for joining the journey in feudal Japan. But here's the overall thing here. They're citing players again. Just like with their 1 million player mark that came out shortly after the initial launch, they're citing players. They're constantly saying players. They're mentioning players over and over and over again. And this is very similar to when they came out and said 1 million players and then decided to go out around and actually show off free copies all over the place. But the reason players is an actual important moniker here and an important word to try to point out to everybody is because players doesn't equate sales. And this is why I'm bringing up Ubisoft Plus a lot. Ubisoft Plus allows you to play the game day one as long as you have a $15 a month subscription to the platform. It's very similar to things like Game Pass and other sources like that. So when you have that going in there, that's not sales, that's players right there. So that's now causing a lot of your numbers to be fluctuated. And also, I mean, giving out a bunch of free copies left, right, and center also causes your numbers to actually fluctuate all over the place. So you have to come out here and say, hey, we have 1 million or 2 million players, but that doesn't mean actual sales. And also, Ubisoft and Assassin's Creed know the actual sales to this game, considering we can even utilize things like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 yet again, in which they openly said that the game sold 5 times as many copies its first month compared to how it previously did. And they specifically cite copies sold. Copies sold is actually evidence of revenue coming in. That doesn't just necessarily mean profit, but that means money's actually coming in here. When you're just constantly citing players, that's just telling you how many people are actually playing the game. That doesn't tell you how many copies have actually been sold, and that doesn't tell you how much revenue is actually coming in. But because of this puff piece that was actually put out here by Forbes, well, yeah, the stock ended up going up a little bit. But it really doesn't offset the fact that the stock's still at an all-time low and is still just a disaster waiting to happen. But that goes into the other point of a lot of this spin and a lot of this cope that's going on here. And I don't normally like to cite individuals like this, but he gets a special shout out today because we're going to come over here to Mighty Keef. That's right, Mighty Keef. Man, I just love this shill right here. This guy that actually got a free advanced copy of Assassin's Creed Shadows himself is also going around trying to shill out for Ubisoft left, right, and center, and also shield for Dragon Age the Veilguard, mind you, is coming out here and saying something very interesting. But he's out here quote tweeting somebody, bringing up the fact that Ubisoft is on the brink of bankruptcy. This is a well-known information as of right now. And heck, it's even cited in things like IG and all over the place that Ubisoft is struggling right now and Assassin's Creed Shadows actually needs to do very well. But he comes out here and says this: Assassin's Creed Shadows succeeding or failing will have no change on the current Ubisoft financially. Yeah, that's not true. They will still be here even if Shadows sold one copy. That's also not true. The Assassin's Creed and Rainbow Six IPs are worth billions of dollars alone. That doesn't just go away, lol. Tencent would never let Ubisoft dissolve. Well, Tencent actually hasn't purchased Ubisoft yet, so that's not important. Tencent is in the process of maybe buying them out or buying certain IPs. Ubisoft is on the brink of bankruptcy and is running over to Tencent to actually get this. But hey, you know, let the shill lie to you all day and night about what's actually going on here. But he continues on. I don't think people understand how hard it is and how long it takes for a massive company to go to zero. Please don't listen to anyone saying Assassin's Creed Shadows alone will save Ubisoft from past failures or that Shadows failing will tank Ubisoft. That is not how business works. There are so many other prerequisites that need to happen for a company to fall all in the way down. And again, Ubisoft has a literal money whale like Tencent to get them out of anything. Again, though, the whole Tencent deal isn't even confirmed yet, and they're running to them begging Tencent to take them over. So listening to this dude here try to tell you that Tencent is going to save them, that's not what's going to happen. Tencent will buy them out and Tencent will own them. That's what's more than likely going to happen there. That's only if that deal actually goes through. We don't even know if that's actually going to happen as of right now. But take note of what he said here. You know, past failures. One game isn't going to save one company. You know, it can't tank one company. Well, it actually can, especially when you consider all the past failures. Ubisoft closes Star Wars Outlaw Studio, lays off 185 employees as company's financial troubles deepen ahead of Assassin's Creed Shadows. This has been a consistent thing that's been going on right now. This has happened over and over and over again. And you could say, well, past failures, past failures, past failures. Ubisoft needs success. Ubisoft is literally at the brink of bankruptcy, running to Tencent, begging them to buy them out. You have shareholders begging the company to take it private. You have people all over the place pointing out the failures of what's going on. And you know, you have things like Prince of Persia over here that came out last year that nobody knew about and was a complete flop for them. Or you have their quadruple A video game, Skull and Bones, that was in the process of being developed for the past 10 years that cost the company upwards of $650 million to maybe $850 million. That's because of how long the game took to actually develop. So you know how big that budget is in the grand scheme of things. You know that Assassin's Creed Shadows has an overall budget of around $300 million, if not a little bit more. And on top of that, you know that the game needs to sell about 10 million copies just to break even, citing Ubisoft executives. Oh, and it's not like even the devs said that was the worst game they've ever seen. But furthermore, going back to his all-around point that this isn't going to happen. Tencent's going to come in and save the day. Tencent's going to come in and save the day. We don't even know that that's going to happen. Disgruntled Ubisoft investor calls on Assassin's Creed maker to go private as shares slump. This has been a consistent story going on since September of last year. And I'm using IGN right now because a lot of these people like Mighty Queef like to say that Park Place or Phantom Pulse or any of these other sites are right-wing conspiracy nut job sites. So that's why I'm using IGN, one of their strongholds, to try to help further this point that this is a known issue right now. And it doesn't matter how big of a shill he is right now. He's not going to get out of this fact that, yeah, Ubisoft's about to go under. But you also have Ubisoft's founding Guillemot family and Tencent reportedly considering taking the company private amid high-profile flops and share price collapse. This isn't a win. This isn't a W like fucking Keefe is trying to tell you is. This is a loss. This is an admission of failure if they have to do this, because the company's been public for so long. You have people begging them to take it private. You have Tencent to come in here debating whether or not they're going to buy them out or not. That's not even confirmed yet, but Queef's out here thinking that it is, even though they're still in talks. Heck, you even have this. Days after shutting XDefiant and laying off hundreds of staff, Ubisoft is reportedly considering how to structure a Tencent buyout without the Guillemot family losing control. This whole story was when Tencent was starting to debate whether or not they leave, because they didn't want the Guillemot family in control. Tencent wants control right now, not the Guillemot family, because the Guillemot family is the reason they're in this position right now. Guillemot family wants to keep control. Tencent wants control. Tencent doesn't want the Guillemot family involved in any way, shape, or form, because the Guillemot family is the reason they're in the mess in the first place. So this was the beginning of a lot of the conversation starting to go under, and a lot of the things starting to have issues. Oh, but we also had Ubisoft investors grill CEO, CFO on potential Tencent sales, delays, and financial woes. It's not even confirmed yet. There's no promise that a Tencent buyout is actually going to happen. There's talks of it might happening. There's talks of maybe Tencent buying AIP, not the entire company. They don't know what's even going to happen here. So again, you can use Mighty Queef as much as you want. He's lying to you, but this is a part of the spin. This is a part of the cope. This is a part of the changing the narrative and trying to say that we're all insane when this whole situation has been discussed in the mainstream outlets ever since of September of last year, when they announced that Star Wars Outlaws was a monumental flop. Let it be known that the cope right now is next level, and it doesn't matter what they're coming out with. It doesn't matter what's being said. Heck, you can have Dexerto trying to cite Hideki Kamiya saying all the controversies nobody actually cares about over here. Nobody actually worries about over here. None of this is an actual big issue. You can have them try to cite this all day and night and have people like Queef try to quote tweet them saying, we've been telling you this, nobody actually cares about this. Then why the heck did Ubisoft come out here, put out a day one patch, removing a lot of the contentious issues, removing a lot of the issues that were actually going on there? If it wasn't a big deal, they would have never done this. At the end of the day, we have cope and spin going on here because everybody knows the truth. Everybody knows that when we come right on back over here, this 2 million players does not equate to actual sales. Everybody knows that these numbers right here over on SteamDB are more accurate than what people want to actually give it credit to, and is a death nail for the overall Ubisoft company and the Assassin's Creed brand. But hey, let the shills say what they want to do. Let the copium flow, because at the end of the day, Ubisoft is probably going to go under because of this, and it's all because of their own mismanagement and their own faults. But hey, that's just my take on all this. Let me get your guys' thoughts on all this down in the comments below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it out, friends, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell for every time I put out a new video and go live, guys. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.